What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, back for another edition of MVP Sports Live right here on either Twitch or YouTube, MVP Vids or MVP Sports. I'm joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, how you doing on this beautiful Monday? I know you're feeling good after Alvin Kamara last night. I know that.
I mean, Alvin Kamara did a little bit of heavy lifting last night. Not enough to win the game, which is okay because I predicted the Packers, but enough to win me a fantasy game, which is all that really matters.
How many did he have? Like 42 points for you?
Something dumb. Yeah.
Like, you didn't even need Aaron Jones to go off. You had Alvin Kamara, who, by the way, for those of you who don't know, was Dave's first-round auto pick at fourth overall because you walked away. Like, no, you didn't walk away. You couldn't get into the draft lobby.
It would not load in my my Firefox browser.
It would not load. Dave got auto-picked Alvin Kamara, and it won Dave his week 3 matchup.
I had the best team in that league. I'm outscoring, I think, the next closest team by like 120 points.
I mean, I was 132 this week.
I think I'm averaging like 180.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, this week I had 132. I'm up 132 to 112 on Sean. He's got Mark Andrews tonight. JD, I don't know what to do with JD. I'm sorry, JD, if you're in Twitch chat, but you've got Austin 95 to 45. JD's got, 120 minutes tonight from Lamar Jackson and Justin Tucker. I don't know if Lamar's got a 40-point performance in him against the Chiefs. Then you've got Kyle and Sam. Kyle is going to win that matchup. He's up 148 to 106. Dave, 184 to 166. That one is over. Nobody left. Dave beats Tim to go to 3-0. And then basically Brandon and Mark might be the toughest one this week. 111 to 88. Mark has, Tyreek Hill and Kelsey tonight. Brandon has Edwards-Helaire tonight.
Thank you.
So we'll see out of those three if that can get Mark a plus 20 to catch up, and then more than Edwards-Helaire. But Dave, we're not talking fantasy football today. We are, but it's a little bit later when we talk about football, because we got some basketball to start the show off with, because over the weekend the Lakers won. And then the next night, the Miami Heat won. So we know that the NBA Finals is going to be Lakers Heat. We're going to preview that matchup. But before we do, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Number one, Discord. Go ahead and join it. Link down below in the description, or in Discord, or in Twitch chat. Discord gets you in. Number two, if you want to support us, patreon.com/MVP vids is the way to go. Bronze, silver, gold, and platinum tiers to help us out. And thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. And then last but not least, we're always live on Twitch Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids. But then we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. So go ahead, like, sub, and follow us at both places. But Dave, the NBA Finals is set. We won't get a game one until Wednesday, so I'm sorry, Dave. There is no basketball for the wet boy. Like, today is a basketball wet boy, but Dave's going to have some trouble on Tuesday and Wednesday finding some wet boys to go with.
Hold out
until Wednesday. But Dave, the finals is set. Lakers Heat, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James. And the thing I can't help but think about, and I think Twitter has been going crazy today with it, is this Miami Heat team. Like, this Miami Heat team, who would have thunk? I'm going to give myself partial credit, even though I pussied out at the end. And I will say I pussied out because I was like, did I put them in the finals? No, I'm going to put Boston in the finals. But I was high on this Heat team to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, although I jumped off the wagon at the wrong time in the prediction. What do you think heading into this finals, Dave? Lakers, Heat. What are your just preliminary thoughts?
I mean, on paper, that Lakers roster, it's two men versus a team. That is the story of this series.
2.5 men, Dave. Don't forget about Rondo.
Oh, 2.5 men. Yeah, no, I agree. Rondo should be an interesting piece. We'll see what kind of help he can provide, and if he can slow down Tyler Hero or Goran Dragic out there. I just don't know. I mean, look, LeBron James had another all-time performance. Mm-hmm. It's just LeBron James, playoffs, 9 years out of the last 10. He's been in the finals. The only year he's not, he got hurt. Like, it is so impossible to bet against this man, and yet that's the only thing I want to do here. I want to take the Heat. I want to go with my boys because it's like best player in the series is LeBron James. Second best player in the series, Anthony Davis, Jimmy and Bam. They're all like right there, and then after that, it's all the Heat. All Heat. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I feel like the deeper team is the Heat. I feel like the better team is the Heat, but the best player, Bron. I'm going Heat. I'm gonna book it. I'm gonna put it down. I'll say the Heat take the series.
And the reason, Dave, well, I've been saying it since we got the finals matchup. I said it in Discord, Heat in 7. I think this is going to go the distance. Everyone else is like Lakers in 5. You even got STL fans, Dave, in Twitch chat right now. Lakers in a blowout, 5 games. Another, as I think it was Kendrick Perkins today on Not Get Up. Stephen A. and Max Kellerman. Why am I first take? He was like, oh, gentleman sweep, gentleman sweep, gentleman sweep. Oh, they're going to do another gentleman sweep yet again. It's like, no, this is going to be a series that is fought out because, number one, the thing about this Miami Heat team, you know how Paul Pierce was saying that these kids are scared of LeBron? Well, I'll tell you one guy who's not. Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler, whatever he feels, the rest of this Miami Heat team feels. Because I just feel like this Heat team, their attitude starts with Jimmy at the top, and the rest of the team just feeds off that. Like, they all have this same attitude. They're in it together. And number two, I've been saying it the entire bubble, the reason why I think that this series is going to be closer than what people think is because mainly the reason why the Heat are here, I'm not going to bash them in this because they have been playing really well. But playing in the bubble, playing without real like fan noise and playing in a neutral site has benefited the Heat in my mind. It's able to give Tyler Hero performances that he's had because I don't think we see the Tyler Hero that we saw on the road in Boston.
Never know.
To where I feel like that's just going to benefit the Heat. And I feel like this is going to be a series of nobody's winning this in 5 games. This is not going to be like the LeBron James last series of, oh, we'll lose game 1, then win 4, or hey, we'll win 3, lose game 4, then win 5. And then on the other side, this ain't going to be like the Heat winning 3 and then winning it in 5.
See, I just don't know about that because I feel like you give all that shit to like, oh, they benefit from the home team or not having that shit. I'm like, yeah, but this is like the most pure basketball we've got to see.
No, it's an even slate for both teams.
You're the best team. No distractions, no anything else going on. They're the best team, and that's what it is.
I'm not saying it's a negative. I'm just saying like that has benefited.
You're trying to play it up like it's a negative.
No, it's not because
like, we're choking under pressure.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm saying that's true, but like. You're right. It has allowed the best team to win to where it's like, I'm not saying that's a negative, but like, I'm not going to completely disregard the fact that has benefited the Heat even a little.
How hasn't it benefited the Celtics? How didn't it benefit any other team?
I mean, really, the only team it hurt.
Because you give the benefit to the only team that at the end of the table.
Well, I mean, it hurt the Milwaukee Bucks in my mind. I mean, yeah, Giannis going down, but by the time Giannis went down, the series was over anyways. I know they won that game that Giannis went down, but like they weren't coming back to win that series. Like to me, I feel like the bubble, the neutral siteness has affected the playoffs. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like, oh man, we got to go back to the old days. I actually like neutral sites. I love March Madness, all neutral sites, because like you said, it takes away the stupidness of, oh well, we lost because we weren't playing in our home arena. Like it takes away
distractions. It takes away the travel. It takes away the downtime. It takes away the warm up shit. Like everything is just, these guys are in their comfort zone right now. It is routine through and through. Nothing changes. They go in the same gym. They play in the same time. Like you could not ask for a better situation to get the purest form of basketball in. And that's why I think that, again, I think this is the best team. I think this is the best year of playoff basketball we've ever seen. And I think that you can't discount anything that's come from it. So I will admit that I like Man, I still want to flop. I want to be like those fucking Lakers though.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Do you want to go
I
back and
understand
do you want to go back on
they
your
beat
rooting?
everyone like just so soundly,
Mm-hmm.
but there's just something special about this Heat team.
Let,
Even if they don't win, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down with. I'm sticking with the Heat. I can't go back on it.
let's be honest though. And I will talk about the Lakers a little bit here. And Laker fans and people on the LeBron bandwagon are going to call me a hater. I don't care. I might be drinking the haterade. Who knows? But you look at the game, like you look at the series they've played. Yes, I called that. Like I was like, oh, Dame and the Blazers are going to beat them. But let's be honest. In that series, Blazers looked good game one. Then CJ was already hurt. Dame got hurt. And as soon as like that started happening, I was like, okay, well, this Blazer team ain't going to be able to hold up and win this series.
Right.
Then you've got the Rockets who, yeah, on paper, the Rockets should have been a team that played better against the Lakers. But then Russell Westbrook decided, hey, I'm going to implode at the absolute wrong time to basically implode.
James Harden was going to no-show multiple games?
Well, that too, where there was more of a discussion that I know you and I had of like, you were basically like, James Harden just has to go back to being the score 40 and 50 a night guy.
Yeah.
Like, be
the guy
that
he,
James
the
Harden.
guy he was all season. Like, I don't understand how all of a sudden he's just like, nah, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah. And then like that Rockets team didn't look like the Rockets team that we were expecting. And then like Denver, it's one of those things where they are who the Lakers thought they were. They're going to let us get up 3-1, and I will say the last 3 games were close.
They're not going to let you get up 3-1. That's
like,
not a strategy that happened.
No.
Not a conversation that ever happened.
I'm not saying it's a strategy. It's how I phrased it. But it's one of those where it's like the Denver, every single other series has, the other team has gone up 3-1. But guess what? The Jazz were a team that were not built like the Lakers or the Clippers. The Clippers were playing their worst basketball at the absolute worst time of the year to play your worst basketball. And the Lakers, it's like you cannot let LeBron James go up 3-1. Was I hoping for the 3-1 comeback? I was. Was I believing in it? I was a little bit, because the last 3 games of that series, the Nuggets did play. Although they lost 1, and they won 1, lost 2, they played the Lakers close in those last 3 games. They just didn't have enough juice to get it done in, what was that, game 3 and game 5, the 2 that they lost, to where it ended up being, you let LeBron go up 3-1 against you. Yeah, good luck winning 3 in a row.
I feel like you're not giving credit to the Nuggets team itself. We were talking about the hottest shooter in basketball in Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
We're talking about Nikola Jokic, the man who's revolutionizing the 5 in the modern NBA. Like, you're like, well, no, the Clippers played their worst basketball.
Well, they did.
I think
the Clippers played their worst basketball. The Clippers
I think
played.
the Nuggets
Paul George. We kept calling him Pandemic P. Like he was I feel like the Clippers basically no-showed at the worst time of the year. Like, get credit due to Jamal Murray. He's been shooting lights out the entire bubble. But we can't go through and act like a little bit of it wasn't the Clippers not showing up. And mainly, I didn't even say the Clippers. Mainly, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George no-showing at the worst moments. The worst moments. Like, everyone dogged LeBron for not scoring in the fourth quarter of his game. And then the very next night, Kawhi Leonard does the same thing. And they lost to, I think it was the Nuggets series where that happened. Might have been the Mavericks.
Jeremy Grant going out there playing incredible defense.
He did.
No credit to Paul Millsap.
They
Torrey
played
Craig,
well, but were they
Gary Harris?
And looking at hindsight, yes, I was rooting for the comeback, the 3-1 comeback over the Lakers. But realistically, what were the odds of that happening against LeBron? Were the Lakers having every single series looked dominant against the teams that we thought, hey, might give them problems?
I'm just saying. You're making it sound like the Nuggets fluked their way into the Western Conference Final.
It didn't fluke it.
That's what you're making it sound like.
No, with me, the thing with the Nuggets is, I've said it before, I don't think if we're not in, and I'm going back to the neutral site thing,
I'm just going to leave the call at this one.
With the Nuggets, I feel like that played more into than the Heat side, where I do not think that the Nuggets were the second best team in these playoffs on the Western side. I don't think that.
You could have fooled me being in the Western Conference fucking finals.
I mean, there have been many teams, like the Grizzlies team that was the 8th seed that beat the Spurs. Were they a better team than the Spurs? No, they just played better in that series. Like, there are times where the lower seeded team plays better, but they're not necessarily a better team than that team they beat.
It's performances. Every night is a little something special. I mean, it's just, look, if the best team always won, then why play the playoffs? That's all I'm saying.
No, I know.
I hate hearing the argument.
Well, I'm not saying don't play the playoffs, Dave, but I am saying, like, it's a little bit of tomato. Yeah, the Nuggets played well, but let's be honest, there is a other side to every coin.
What I'm saying, put some respect on the Nuggets.
Yeah, and I did. I said they played well, but there's every side to the other coin. There's always another side. Like,
when I'm the one trying to be positive about teams, there's something wrong. Like, I'm the one who shits on teams. And I'm always the one who's like, yeah, no, that team's garbage, they don't deserve whatever. And you're like, nope, they tripped down some stairs and found themselves in the Western Conference Finals.
I mean, they did. They did. Let's be honest. Let's be completely honest. Like, no, if this is going to be a Nuggets thing, fucking, like, Conley millimeters away, like, from being the 76ers know this on the other side with the 4 bounces. They were basically, they wanted to give the Jazz, I'm going to say they wanted to give the Jazz that series because of the decisions they were making in that late game 7.
Out there.
What?
And no Bojan Bogdanovic.
And no Bojan. That also aided the Nuggets. But then you can't look at that Nuggets Clippers series and say that the Clippers played their best basketball. That's all I'm saying. Is the Clippers, there's a little bit of it is the Clippers were not the Clippers. Even against the Mavericks, the Clippers were not the Clippers.
Underperform, or do they just face adversity and not come out on the other side? Like, I think
it's a little bit of column A and column B with the Clippers.
Yeah, it feels like you're weighing so heavily to, again, they stumbled their way through.
I'm looking at the other side of it.
Purest form of basketball, and you're like, no fucking flukes.
I never used the word fluke, Dave. Never used the word fluke. You're putting words in my mouth. The one thing I did want to bring up, there was a part of me that didn't want to bring this up, but I am going to bring this up because it was a conversation immediately in our Discord. Okay. It was also a conversation. I made the mistake of watching Kendrick Perkins, like I mentioned on First Take today. And he even got he even got Stephen A going. And when I'm agreeing with Stephen A, that like
there's a problem.
It's usually I'm not agreeing with Stephen A. But the question that I want to ask Dave, because everyone wants to kind of micro focus or actually just mega focus on that this is LeBron's 10th finals. And First Take had the debate. Our Discord had the debate. To you, is there any debate? Does this reopen the debate between LeBron and Jordan?
I don't think the debate was ever closed. As long as LeBron's still playing the game, there's still a debate. Like, you can't tell a man he's never going to be the best when he's still in the prime of his career at 35. I know how ridiculous that sounds, saying the prime of his career at 35. He is, though. Statistically, he is. Turns out when you're not drinking and smoking stogies during halftime, you're going to be a fucking better athlete. Mm-hmm. Shocker. No, he's not better than LeBron is not better than Michael yet. And that's why.
But how many years does he have? How many years does he have to catch up then? And because I don't see him being in the league long enough to catch up. I think that door is closed. I think he's the number 2 overall.
5 more years?
I say even if he does play 5 more years, he's still the number. Like, there's nothing bad with being the second best player in basketball history.
I mean, again, 9 out of 10 years he's been in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
He's won 3. He could win 4 here. Like, who's to say that's not, that if he wins this year, he's not better than Michael? He's the most consistent athlete I think we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He's been blessed with good health. He has the ability to do everything on a basketball court. Like, there's literally no weakness in the man's game.
The thing that Max Kellerman said something today that I didn't think about. and this is to me why. And like I know STL fans, 1-on-1, who's playing to
LeBron
10,
wins that.
like who wins? That's not basketball though. Like
Agreed.
a better 1-on-1 player does not mean you're the best player, or the greatest player in basketball. Because there are matchups there where it's like if the player plays better defense than the other one, of course the one that plays worse defense.
You're stronger and faster,
Yeah.
so there's that.
And that's another thing. Like I feel like first off, I'll get to the Max Kellerman line that he said today was when we talk about LeBron, it's always about, oh, he got through, like especially with the Warriors. Oh, he got through that Warriors team. And Max goes, we never said that with Michael. We never said like, oh, he conquered this monster and that monster.
Yes, we
because
did.
Michael was the monster. Like in the 90s, Michael was the monster.
He had to conquer the Celtics. He had to conquer the Pistons. He had to conquer.
No, we're not saying like we're not talking about the 80s. Of course there was a road to get there. But like we're talking about in their prime is what he was saying. When they got
Michael's prime.
When they got to their, because like when people look at Michael and being the GOAT, they look at the 90s. Let's be honest. No one looks at the 80s. Yes, there was a climb to get to where he is. There's always a climb. No one walks in and wins the finals as a rookie. Like Magic Johnson did, I know. But normally people aren't doing that. Like Tyler Hero, could be the second person to do that? And Magic, right?
Every team has a pick, every year.
No, but I mean one that is like significantly contributing to their team. I'm talking about one that's significantly contributing, Dave. Not like I got picked by the best team in the NFL. Oh, I won the Super Bowl because I was picked number 32. Like, I'm not talking about those guys.
If I go back year by year, I can guarantee you we can pick out some people.
Okay. But that was one thing that I didn't think about was like, okay, we never looked at like with the Jazz and stuff and the Supersonics.
Darko Milicic.
Darko Milicic could be the best player in that draft class.
He won the ring as a rookie, I think, right?
I never thought of it that way. Of like, okay, Mike, like people, it was like, Michael didn't Supersonics Jazz. It wasn't can Michael get past the Jazz? It was can the Jazz get past Michael? And that was yet again winning the repeated finals, which I think with LeBron, I wanted to say favoriters. LeBron, his camp that is he's the GOAT camp. They like to disregard like, oh, if you say 6-0, it's like, okay, I won't say 6-0. But you got to say, winning multiple finals year after year after year is kind of important. Is a little important.
Has Michael ever gone up against a team as good as the Golden State Warriors? No, because the Golden State Warriors are the greatest team of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just didn't have that level of competition. It didn't exist. The parity in the league did not exist in the 90s.
That's another thing. Different league. That's one. You've mentioned already. Different way of, like, how athletes approach their bodies, where Go ahead.
Nope.
Okay. Soapy and I were having the discussion, like I brought up, where like take each of them and switch them to the other era, where you take LeBron first off out of the sports medicine era that we're in now, where sports medicine, trainers, just the way we think about the game is completely different than the 90s. I think, that would have hurt LeBron. I think the longevity of LeBron's career is that sports medicine, how we approach things, the thing of like the word we love to use in load management has really contributed.
Literally never done.
No, I'm not saying he's done, but I feel like in longevity of careers. Like, there are players now that are doing it. It is a tactic that players do.
But it's not a conversation for him.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there of, like, it's in the mix of the era we live in. Like, how it's different.
Take 2 years off to go play baseball. Didn't have an injury in his second year. Took him out of
yet again, I hate when people bring that up, Dave. I hate when people bring up the left to go for 2 years. Because
come back and look like a bitch on Washington at the end of his career either yet.
I mean, hey, look, I'm a Chicago fan. I
worship at the Temple of Jordan. I'm just saying the man is not without fault.
No, I didn't say he's not without fault. That's not what I'm going.
No, I'm just clarifying for people out there who are hearing me say some blasphemous shit over here. I'm just trying to bring some balance.
No, and I'll get into that. Where first off, I hate when people bring up he left for 2 years to play baseball, because yeah, you could be on the side that's like he had the gambling issues and that's why he walked away. But there is honestly, I think, a side of his father died. And first off, going through that, probably, I don't know what that's like because I've never had a parent die. And number two, I could see why he made that choice of like, hey, I always it was one of those things my dad always wanted me to do. So I don't fault him for going to baseball. I don't fault him. Now that he came back and yeah, that first year, Bulls still made it to the playoffs. Bulls were still a good team. I think that's another thing that people like to throw out with the Jordan argument is, well, he actually had a team behind him in Cleveland. LeBron didn't because the ownership was not as good or didn't make the choices to help them win. But he steps in and boom, after that, like half a season he played, boom, is back to winning titles immediately. The other thing is like you bring up the Washington years. I've thrown out before, let's not hold that against Jordan yet, because there's probably going to be a chance, and I'm not going to say he's going to look like a shell of himself, but there will be I bet you there will be a point in LeBron's life after his Laker deal this year, the one that he's currently on, or no, he's got to sign one more, and then it is, because I remember doing the math. Once Bronny's drafted, he's going to wherever Bronny is. And guess what? Bronny's not going to a LA Laker team. He's going to go to, like, you'll look at it this year, the T-Wolves. He's going to go to the Cavs. He's going to go to a team that's not good. The Cavs would actually be one where it's actually like, LeBron's son gets drafted by him. LeBron comes home to finish his career in Cleveland. That would almost look like you can spin it in a positive light. But let's not say that LeBron's not going to do the same thing that Jordan did and finish his career somewhere else.
Which he may not be.
What?
Bronny might not be a top pick in the draft. He's fallen down boards.
Okay. I mean, that's even a thing. I'm expecting him to be a top pick. I mean, he's only a sophomore. Like, I'm not even looking at him. Like, I'm just expecting him to be a top pick. We'll see when he gets to be a senior what he looks like.
In the teens right now?
Mm-hmm.
So, he's not a top guy. Can't say he will be or won't be yet, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, I don't see there being a point in LeBron's career where he looks like that. But hey, I think honestly, I'd be more interested to see LeBron. I feel is the competitor who's like, I want to beat down my son. I want to be 40 and kick the shit out of him in a game of basketball.
Would he go to a rival?
What's up?
So I'm going to throw this out. Let's say you say the teens. Let's say Bronny goes to Boston. Would LeBron then pick a team in the East? So it's like, I'm going to go up against my son more.
Wherever he's at. I don't think it'll come into it.
Okay.
I think LeBron James is concerned with winning. He wants to compete. He wants to also be that mogul of I've got my hands in business. That's why he went to LA.
Yeah.
It was so he could do movies. It was so during the time when he's not playing basketball, he is growing his empire.
Yeah.
So I don't see him going over and joining up with, like any team in the East outside of maybe a New York at the end of his career.
Yeah.
Because the business possibilities are going to be limited. So to me, it feels like you're writing this whole narrative over here, and I'm like, that's cute and all, but I don't see it.
It's just the thing of if LeBron, I do agree with you. If LeBron leaves the Lakers for a last team, in my mind, it's either two choices. He stays in LA or after, because I think how it works out with Bronny is after this current deal's done, he would have to sign, I think it's either a 1+1 or a 2+1. I think it's a 1+1. Because there's one more year, depending on the one and done rule. Like if that gets made, then no. At the end of this contract, he'll be able to go ahead and just enter free agency. And I think that he either stays in LA or if his son goes to a different team, not the Lakers, if he's leaving the Lakers, it's to go play with his son. Like, that's what I'm saying. And am I saying that LeBron on that new team is going to be, because Jordan was not good on the Wizards, let's be honest, we just kind of discount those years? Because it's like we weren't.
I mean, he was 39, 20 points a game, but like he was not the same guy he was.
No, and were we expecting him? Like, yeah, it's Michael Jordan. Like, he did have some good performances just because he's Michael Jordan. Yeah. But, like, we weren't expecting, like, the same kind of like, man, Michael Jordan's going to bring the Wizards to the finals like we did when he was on the Bulls. Because we kind of had that understanding that he'd been out of the league for what was that? 2 years off? Again, it was 2 years, and then he went to the Wizards, I want to say.
3 years, actually.
3 years. So, yeah, it was because he retired in 98 and then what, 2001?
Age 35.
Okay.
So he missed out on like the year right now where LeBron's competing for a championship. Michael was done.
But yet again, two of the other things that, yes, these are differences is, number one, sports medicine and how we look at the body is different. Like you mentioned, smoking stogies at halftime. It was a different era. And number two, four years of Jordan was college. LeBron didn't have that. LeBron came straight from high school. So it's like they're different. Like are they both great players? Yes.
If you made LeBron James play 4 years of college.
And if he did, you're thinking if he did?
Are we talking like UCLA dominance from the 60s level of like these aren't actual basketball games even?
I don't know. Let's see. LeBron James, I'm going to see if I could find his. Did he even have a drafting profile back then? He did. Let's see.
I mean, look at his stats his rookie year in the NBA. That's all you need to know.
No, I mean, I was going to look up to see, was he even fucking recruited by anybody?
Ohio State made an offer. Kentucky made an offer. Like, they all made offers.
So the offers he got were North Carolina, Ohio State, Duke, Florida, Kentucky, Louisville, Michigan State, and Ohio State.
Yeah, so blue bloods plus some local. Yeah.
But, like, LeBron wasn't going to be a team. To me, LeBron wasn't going to be a guy that left Ohio. Maybe it's just me. Maybe, like, I know that looking at, like,
they're leave Ohio, and then he went up and left Ohio to win a championship. So.
Later on. I'm talking about, like, out of high school.
Like, I can't see him on the train is local. No, wait, he did that.
He did, but...
No, he did that.
He did. But there were years in between that influenced that decision, Dave. I'm talking about the LeBron James that was in high school. I think he was all about Ohio. He was all about the hometown guy, wanted to play for the Cavs.
Going to go play for Ohio State.
What?
I can't see him playing for Ohio State, I'll be honest.
Well, let's see. That would have been...
Follow North Carolina in, certain someone's footsteps, or to, like, Kentucky.
So 04, 05.
No, he doesn't seem like a Duke kid to me.
Well, it depends also on that Ohio State basketball roster, because that was an Ohio State basketball roster. The 04-05 team, they went 20-12 that year. They were, 6th in the Big Ten. They went 8-8 in the Big Ten. That was actually the year. That was actually the year after, or the year of. I think it was the year of the Illini dominance. So LeBron would have been a freshman the year the Illini were just having their best season ever in college basketball.
LeBron James on a college team, they lose maybe 2 games top. Like, it's just he was dominating the NBA. There's no way he wouldn't be putting up like 40 and probably 40, 15 and 8 in college. Like, just dumb numbers.
You know what
just absolutely dumb numbers.
You know what that makes me think of?
What's that?
So if he did go to North Carolina that year, do you want to hear their fucking lineup?
Oh yeah, let's hear.
So they had Sean May on that team.
Oh, I hated Sean.
They had Rashad McCants on that team, another guy who got drafted. Jawan Williams, Raymond Felton, Marvin Williams, David Noel. Add LeBron to that team.
Yeah, they win.
Yeah,
it's not close.
Like, they won the title, but like their leading scorers that year, they had 5 guys, 5 guys averaging double digits. May, McCants, Williams, Felton, and Marvin Williams all averaging double digits.
LeBron James dominates no matter what era he plays in. Like, you want to throw the eras into it, I don't care. Like, you put LeBron James in the 80s, he would have dominated. You make LeBron James play college basketball, like I said, he would have lost like 3 games in a year in college basketball.
The debate, the other thing I threw out, though, with the Soapy thing, and like I do agree with that, was if LeBron played in the 90s, would he be a like dumpster player? No. Would there be a little bit of a regression? Like maybe numbers wise, it's a little bit less than it is now? Maybe, because the rules were different. They did make, like, I know everyone wants to say, like, oh, don't bring up hand checking, but like they changed how you can play defense from the 90s to now. But like the other side of that coin is, how would Jordan see an increase if he was playing now? If, like, everyone loves to bring up the argument of, well, if you can't touch Jordan, like the way that you can't touch LeBron, like I feel like Jordan also would be playing better in this era of basketball.
Yeah, so but I mean, like Jordan put up like 37 a night in his like third year in the league. Wasn't winning games, but he can do it. Like he would probably have similar to James Harden numbers, like just dumb scoring, like putting up 37 a night, 38 a night.
Yeah.
If he wants to, he could do that. But it's just like we're not winning games when you do that. That was the problem with that he found out in the 80s. That's what the change was. Well, that was one of many changes that happened in the late 80s. Yes, he'd put up dumb numbers. Absolutely. Would he be more efficient? Maybe. Would he learn to shoot threes eventually in his career? Sure.
Maybe.
But LeBron James doesn't give a shit about hand checking and physicality because he legitimately had the weight of centers back in the 90s. And the athleticism and the speed and everything. Like, again, I don't know that there's a guy like you could be like, oh, well, you take no one. I can't. LeBron is LeBron. Like, I don't have anyone. You could be like, oh, just put him on that team, and there you go. You got LeBron James.
The only thing that Kendrick Perkins said that was smart today, because I'll be honest, usually when Kendrick Perkins is on stuff, I don't like him. Because I usually disagree with 99% of the shit that he says. But the one thing that he said today that I agree with, and he said he's like, it's the same conversation that we were having back then with Jordan. Like now it's Jordan, LeBron. Back then it was the old bloods being like, don't even talk about Jordan. Wilt and Kareem are the best and they're the GOAT. And it's like, I think it's one of those things, and I've brought this up before to our younger fans in the Discord. And of course, yet again, I'm seeing the other side of it, Dave. The other side of where, like, my parents would be like, they'd say something, I'd be like, I'd disregard it. And it's like, okay, you'll learn. You'll learn. I'm seeing that to where it's like hey, you've experienced what you experienced. I experienced what I experienced. No one's going to change their mind. It's fine that no one's going to change their mind.
I'm be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time LeBron retires, he's number one in my book.
And you're okay. I don't think there's anything he could do to be the GOAT. Like, I don't. I feel like it's like Max Kellerman said today. We're saying if you're the best player right now and you're number 2, that's still good. Like, it's not a bad thing to be the second best player all time.
Yep. But it's just that maddening thing of like, what could he do to put him over the top? And the non-answer is what kills everyone. That's the frustration, I think, for a lot of LeBron fans is you're going, well, he can't go 6-0, so how is he supposed to do it?
Well, I think
it's never going to happen then.
I think that the two big things, and I know this conversation's gone long, but the two things that I think hurt LeBron's legacy the most in my mind is, number one, the finals against the Mavericks, I think is a big kill to the legacy because of, yes, you can say that, oh, he's gone back and he says he shouldn't have done the decision. Well, it doesn't change that the decision happened. And I feel like if he would have won that series, and let's say that's the only thing that we change is we flip it from Heat to Mavs. Yep. He doesn't have that, because like they made a statement when they went to Miami. They had the big stage presentation, the not 1, not 2, not 3. They were really cocky at the beginning of the year. By losing that first year, that's a knock. That to me is probably the biggest knock of like, oh, shit. Like maybe we're not as like, it's not a for sure that it happens. And yes, you can say LeBron learned from it, but I still think it's a knock.
That's what made him where he is today.
Yeah.
I think without that, he doesn't change and evolve his game.
Maybe. The other thing I think, yet again, and it's a flip, and I know that some people are going to get mad that I bring this up, Kendrick Perkins baited Stephen A with this, and I'm 100% on Stephen A's side, is if Draymond Green doesn't get that bogus suspension in the finals of their it was bogus, but we're on each side. No one's opinion's going to get changed.
The man kicked people in the nuts for multiple games and got away with it. So all of a sudden, when the refs decided to finally blow their fucking whistle, it
was bogus because basically
he got baited and outsmarted.
Yeah, he got baited. Like, it was bogus because every series before the finals, Draymond was getting these technicals that there were a lot of them that was like, come on, you're going to give him a technical for that?
No, he deserved more.
He did not deserve every single technical. There were some that he deserved, but he did not deserve enough to where he would, if he didn't get the bogus ones beforehand, he wouldn't even be in a situation to get suspended, to where I do agree with Stephen A. That alone changed that series, and I do agree with the wording Stephen A said, that the Cavs were gifted new life in that series to come back 3-1. If that goes the other way, that's another one of like, that gave him that's the word Stephen A used. He said the stimulus package is what he said. And like, I know, hey, we're on different sides. No one's gonna change their mind here.
No, that's what I am. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't say there's zero opportunity for him to be the number one. You can't just be a closed-minded idiot. You have to be like, if he hits this criteria, he's the best player in basketball.
And yet again, then I'll say this then, to just make it simple, is what do you look for in the greatest player? Take the names out of it. If I gave you two examples, I said this person over here went to less finals but won them all, or this person went to more finals but only won 40% of them. Take the names out of it. Take the 6-0 versus, just that alone. 100% wins, but this one went to more, but only won 40%. Which player would you think, oh, you know what, that one's the GOAT? I would think more people would side with, the one that won 100%. Like, and that's what I think. The thing that gets into this argument is I think the names cloud it more than anything else. Like, if you just looked on paper, like, I feel like LeBron James is a good player. No one's saying he's not a good player. But there's a fact of...
Once you bring up finals, then people just go, what about Bill Russell then? Doesn't he dumpster both of these guys? And you can't just look at one thing and say he's the best player. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is you have to give me some criteria that you could say LeBron James has overcome whatever gap that you perceive between me and Michael Jordan. And
what you're saying is right. You can't just look at it on that alone. I'm not disagreeing with you there. But then on the devil's advocate, the other side of the coin, you can't just dismiss it then. Which I feel on the other side, it's just like the first thing that usually people who are on the LeBron James is the GOAT. The first thing they dismiss is, don't bring up 6-0. So like, if you can't focus on that alone, which I'm saying you shouldn't.
I have no problem with that.
No, I know. I'm just speaking in general, Dave. I'm not saying that it's you. Yeah, I'm just speaking in general.
Still not giving me what I'm looking for. You still haven't answered the question of the hour.
What?
What are the criteria LeBron James needs to achieve to close out whatever gap in your mind you've set for him to be the greatest player in basketball?
I cannot give you it because I don't think there is anything he could do to surpass Jordan at this point in his career.
So if he plays for 30 more years, averages 50,
Dave, let's be realistic.
I'm the one here trying to find out this, and you
Dave, just throw out if he plays for 30. He's not going to play for 30 more years.
Afraid.
No,
because you're afraid
he's not going to. No. The thing that, and this pisses me off, it's like I give you a honest answer of I don't think he can do anything, and you throw out if he plays for 30 years. He's not playing for 30 years. Give me something realistic. If he plays for X,
give me something. You're building this imaginary fucking gap.
No, Dave. I'm telling you, I don't think in my mind there's anything he could do, because I don't know if there's anything he could do to surpass Jordan. I don't if he wins 5 more finals in 5 years. I don't think that matters. I don't think it matters, because at the same time, I think of the thing of at the beginning of it's the entire career that we're looking at. And I feel like, yet again, we go back to different eras, so that even plays into it. And I feel like that, like, there's no clean cut to where I'm going to be on my side, the LeBron people are going to be on their side. No one's mind's getting changed, and this debate's never going to end.
You're creating these imaginary lines, and I'm saying that I'm someone whose mind might be changed.
Yes. No, but then you tell me, like, what do you think then he has to do it? Because I don't think there's anything he can do to change it. That's what I'm telling you.
I think if LeBron wins two more championships, there's a chance in my mind that he will be the greatest player ever. Like, that's it. I think it is. I think if he wins this year, which I'm rooting against him because Jimmy Butler, obviously, and he wins another one, and if he competes a little bit longer, if he plays till 40, 2 more championships, and I think that's hard to say no, because then he would literally, I think he's on pace to be, top 5 in scoring, rebounds, and assists all time, as well as playoff numbers, as well as minutes. I mean, literally, the guy owns the record books at that point. He'll have championships. He'll have all NBA honors. He'll have all whatever honors. Like, there's nothing that he hasn't been able to do in the NBA. Like, that's what makes LeBron James special, is the fact that he's just been elite since day one.
Yeah.
And he does everything. He's like, oh, I need to get better at doing this thing. And then he does it. So it's like, well, shit. Like, why don't other people try that? Well, they do. He's just better than everyone. Yeah. Like, I think that's the thing you have to just admit is, like, look, man, when you look at it holistically, his career, his longevity, his, ability to stay healthy, to stay at the top of his game for so long, and to be so damn productive, and to be the fucking gatekeeper of an entire Eastern Conference for over a decade. Like,
that's another thing though people want to throw into it is does that hurt the LeBron legacy of the East was weaker when he was in the East? It was weaker than, let's say, Jordan.
He played higher level of competition than Michael Jordan ever has.
What?
He played higher level of competition than Michael Jordan ever had
in the East.
The period in basketball.
Like, no, I'm talking about just the people want to throw in the weak East argument, and you're like,
I think the Raptors for the last 3 years that LeBron dumpstered them, and it was LeBronto, were a better team than any team Michael Jordan beat in the East in the 90s.
So you're saying you'd put them above the Reggie Miller Pacers, the Patrick Ewing Knicks?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Playoffs too.
What?
Were they even the 1 seed?
What, the Knicks?
They're just the most vivid memory of them losing to the Heat over and over and over.
So let's see. I'll pull up 1998 NBA playoffs, because the Heat, to me, I always remembered them being like a first round matchup for us. The Tim Hardaway, not the junior, Tim Hardaway Sr. and the Alonzo Mourning Heat. Let's see. You had New York, Indiana. Charlotte was usually a second round team at that point. Cleveland was usually a one and doneer. Miami in 98 got upset by New York in the first round. Miami was actually the 2nd seed that year. In 97, Atlanta was the 4th seed. I'm trying to think of that Atlanta team. Like, for me, it's more of like the New Yorks, the Indianas, the Orlando teams from basically like the 96 Orlando team, because that was the one with Shaq still on it. Like, I feel like, yes, there would need to be homework done there, but I would take many of those teams over the DeMar DeRozan Raptors. Like,
the DeRozan Raptors, I think you got to look at like the fucking Celtics in the 2010, 2011 series, the Chicago Bulls in 11, 12, 13. Like, they were a 60-win team with the best defense the NBA has seen. Like, I think you're undermining.
Does that also, and this is a serious question, this is not me being an asshole, does that even just play into more of the basically the sports medicine side of things we've been talking about, where because the league is different, there is a chance for guys to look out for their bodies to get the most out of their career. than there was back in the 90s.
Literally nothing to do with any of that conversation. They're just better players. Like, people figured out that it's efficiency matters in the NBA. Like, if we practice more, we get better at the game. If I take more shots, I'm going to get better at shooting. So maybe I should practice. Like, all these foreign fucking concepts that are common sense nowadays. Like, what's an efficient shot? What's not an efficient shot? How can we play best? Like, all of those things built into it. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think it's the cloud of LeBron made them look weak. And I think if you take them out of that, like, little segment in time, you dropped in, you know, the big three Celtics. I say the big four Celtics because Rajon Rondo was dope. Into the 90s, I think they're right up there at the top of the East. I think they're competing against, you know, the teams that you're mentioning, you know, the late Knicks, like all those teams. I think that they are absolutely legitimate teams. I think that just LeBron James is so damn dominant that he blew through them all. And again, it's like Michael Jordan. It was like, who's going to beat Michael in the East? Fucking nobody. LeBron James. Who's going to beat LeBron James in the East? Fucking nobody. Like, that's why when it's like, oh, you bring that up, well, the same thing happened. Like, both of these guys had the same thing happen.
It's just, to me, I feel like the big thing that I look at, and yet again, this is not for like a debate of who's the GOAT here. This is just a fact that is the eras were different, and it's the age-old question we're never going to get answered, Dave, of how does LeBron look against the teams from the 90s when there was a lot more physicality, and I know that people... I'm just saying, like,
he's bigger, stronger, faster than any star from the 90s, and you're like...
in the 90s, when I say physicality...
He looked like Shaq with a handle.
Yeah, but when I say physicality, centers back then were not, like, they were not afraid to... If you start coming in, we're going to knock your ass down.
Molasses.
What?
They were 7 foot tall and slow as molasses. Like, LeBron James in transition would yam it on there. Like, it wouldn't even be close. The things he is physically capable of doing. Imagine trying to play a traditional 90s center against him. Like, literally, Shaq holds up.
Yeah.
Then you go all the way, maybe Hakeem. Like, you got all the way back. Like, the number 2 greatest center. Like,
my ultimate opinion, and this is where I end on it, is the reason why I think Michael is the GOAT. And yet again, people are going to disagree, and that's fine. That's the whole point of this debate, is I feel like if you put LeBron into the era of the 90s, he is still the best player in basketball, and he basically lives like him and Michael are even, to where it's like he does just as well as Michael does, to where no one questions he's the best. He puts up numbers. But because of how the NBA is played now, I feel like if you put Michael in this NBA in his prime, the Warriors aren't even a team. Because if they go up against Michael Jordan, they don't win. They don't beat him. Like, I feel like in this NBA, Michael would make people look stupid. Because most of these teams now don't have, like, he was going up against Dikembe Mutombo, and he was going up against Ewing and these big centers. And yet again, he was dumpstering them. And I think LeBron does the same thing. The slower bigs don't match up to LeBron because LeBron will be just as athletic as Michael was. But I feel like if you put Jordan in this era, I think he dumpsters the league. And he wins more than 6 finals. And I think that he goes, like, he has an even better legacy than he does. That's just my opinion, though. Are we ever going to know that answer? No. But that's just what I think.
He plays like a high-powered fucking mid-range James Harden, you know? We see Kawhi Leonard, who Kawhi Leonard is today. Kawhi Leonard's a better shooter than Michael Jordan is from 3. So,
I mean, Michael wasn't like towards the end of the career. It's not like Michael was garbage from 3.
They had the shortest 3-point line during that late 90s run. You got to remember they moved the line.
They move it back a bit, but like Jordan's the kind of player, and yet again, the Last Dance should have showed this. The Last Dance should have showed this, that Michael was the type of player that, okay, they moved the line back. All right, he'll work on it.
3% when they moved the line.
What?
He went from 37% to 23%.
What year
when they
was
moved
that?
the line?
What year was that, Dave?
97, 98. It was his final Chicago championship.
The end, like, and at that point, it's one of those, like, that's a microcosm that I look at of like, all right, in 1 year, Michael was not going to, like, they moved the line back. Okay, it's just something I have to deal with because I'm at the end of my career.
Years and shot even worse.
I'm saying, yeah, but yet again, the Washington days, he was out for 4 years. He shouldn't have even came back.
That's what the stats say.
I get it. Like, he was bad in Washington, Dave. Like, I get it. He shouldn't have even played those years. I get it. But, like, I'm saying in his prime, if it was like, this is what the line is,
yep.
I feel like the mindset that we saw in The Last Dance, Michael would have been like, okay, that's the line. And then work on his game to where I need to be at least whatever percent he's aiming for from this, so it cannot be a weakness in my game. That is the thing that I think of where Jordan, yes, the line is moved back. Yes, he had a lower percentage, but it was 1 year. He probably knew he was at the end of his career. Well, fuck it. He knew he was at the end of his career because going into that year, it was The Last Dance. So they knew that this was the end of the line. That was the whole point of the documentary that we saw. Is this debate ever going to end? No. Is it ever going to change minds? No. There's always going to be a LeBron camp. There's always going to be a Jordan camp. There is never going to be a definitive answer.
Stats. Let's look at the game. Let's see how it translates. Let's look at the overall achievements of their career.
There is never going to be a definitive answer where everyone one day wakes up and goes, blank is the GOAT. There's not, like, do you honestly feel like there's going to be one day where everyone gets on the same page and says blank is on there? No, that's what I'm saying.
40% Americans who think our president is not an incompetent jackass. It just proves that it doesn't matter what you say. People who have their mindset are stuck in their ways.
Okay.
And they're irrational.
This is different.
Their opinions don't matter anymore.
This is different than Trump.
No, I'm just saying, like, if that's a baseline for, if you can't come to a consensus about something so incredibly blatantly obvious.
This is not obvious.
It's incredibly obvious.
No, it's not.
Then something like the NBA, where you have Michael Jordan, LeBron James, where it's a conversation.
Never mind.
Then
I misunderstood you.
You're not going to be able to do that.
I misunderstood you. You were saying the Trump part was obvious.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying
I thought you were saying the LeBron Jordan was obvious, and I was like, no, it's not.
I'm saying if you can't get close on something so obvious, then there's no way this will ever get consensus.
Yeah, and that's why I say that's a different even side than like this debate, because this is not obvious. This is not a like, oh, this person is a clear winner. This is a close debate. That is why we've talked for nearly 53 minutes on this alone. Well, not alone. We talked about the finals too. I'll say talked nearly 40 minutes on this alone, Dave.
3 minutes.
40 minutes.
I feel bad right now. You want to know why?
Why?
We're doing what ESPN did to fucking Pat Riley and Spo last night. Like, Spo was on the court with his team celebrating the Eastern Conference Finals. The first question Rachel Nichols asked him is about LeBron James.
I loved his response,
the clip's queued up. Mm-hmm. They had him ready.
Yeah, I loved his response, though.
He's like, I'm going to celebrate with my team for what we just did because it's pretty special. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow's problem. ESPN is fucking vultures. Now I feel bad because we literally just did the same thing.
Okay, so did I expect to go this long with it? No. But it like, this is a debate that, like, there's no way of avoiding this. To where it's like should we not have brought it up at all? Probably, because now I'm in a mindset of like, I didn't need to be in this mindset. I goat myself into it sometimes, Dave. Last night I got goated in by Jake. I should have listened to, there was a little thought in my head that's like, don't get goated by Perkins. I know you watched that today, but don't even bring it up. And then my big dumb mouth brings it up. And we talk for like fucking 50 minutes on the finals alone. But Dave, a segment we love to do here on MVP Sports Live. These are the dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shooters, usually the moistest of men, sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys, a segment we love to do, throwing love, not shade, throwing love at players who popped off the day before. Well, for Mondays, it's the weekend before. Dave usually gives a wet boy. I usually give a wet boy. And then the patrons at patreon.com/MVP vids, silver and above, they get to vote on their Wet Boy 2. I will say, Dave, I did make the cards, but the one thing I forgot to do before games live is load them. So yours will probably be loaded because every time I say that, yours loads perfectly. But mine and the patrons will probably have to be switched over, whatever it is, what it is. Dave, who's your Wet Boy September 28th, 2020?
My Wet Boy today is the one, the only is Bam Adebayo. Adebayo is something special. Definitely not Tyler Hero, but
yeah,
he had a good game in his previous game.
There it is. There's Bam.
There we go. Yeah, Bam came out after the loss the Heat suffered and was like, it's on me. I take full responsibility. I missed some shots. I missed some plays. I need to do better. And he turns around and puts on a all-time performance here. And it was something special. He was just he was the best player on the court. And I think, I heard somebody say it. I think it was the co-host on, the JJ Wright podcast, or it was JJ himself, maybe. And it was like, yeah, he's playing like a top 10 player in the NBA right now. He legitimately is he's got it all together. It's terrifying, what he's become in such a short amount of time. So I think that he deserves a shout out. We've been talking. I've given so much love to Tyler Hero. I talk Jimmy Butler on the daily because Jimmy don't like that, and it's just what we do.
You've given Bam quite a bit of love. This is like the third or fourth Wet Boy he's gotten, Dave.
He's very good.
I know.
Is it?
I'm not saying looking at this card. I honestly looked at it. I was like 32 points, 14 boards. Shit, the first Wet Boy we've probably had this bubble that's shot 73% from the field.
He shot insane. He didn't miss. He literally brought the ball up court
not much.
And saw. He looked across, saw Tice. I was like, yeah, no, I got this. And it was just like, when your center does that, what are you supposed to do on the other side? I feel bad for the Celtics because they're just getting wrecked, but Bam had it all. Again, Miami is just the ultimate team of basketball players.
Yeah.
There's no one guy on that team who does anything. If you pull out one piece, it's somebody else will jump in their place, kind of a deal. Except for Bam, I truly believe Bam is that special cog. As much as I love Jimmy Butler and I know Jimmy Butler's a better player, without Bam, I don't know how this team can function. Yep, Jimmy Butler's father, and that's what we're going to find out in the finals.
Yeah, so, I mean, the one thing I do feel, JD yesterday in the Discord, I felt so bad for JD. You could tell in his voice that it stung a little bit watching the Celtics team bow out in the Eastern Conference Finals yet again. I know there was some debate, and we'll probably have this discussion in the offseason, Dave, of have the Celtics peaked? Is this their peak for this core?
They're 22 and 23-year-old, all-star, all-NBA, soon-to-be all-defensive. Yeah, they've peaked, guys. That's a realistic conversation.
Dave, with mine, I'm going to the pigskin side of things, but I'm doing something I thought I wouldn't do. Where I've been against the college football season for this year because I feel like it's stupid to play. You're putting players in harm's way, and LSU, you deserve to lose that game. This is the consequence to your actions, just so you know. Karma too. But I got to go to college football. Trevor Bauer was my Wet Boy on Friday. But for today, I'm going with Kyle Trask. And Trask for the Florida Gators completely dumpstered. 51 points in the game. He had 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, a QBR of 93.4, and threw for 416 yards, Dave. The kid just slung it.
Is he not playing it like Houston with those numbers? I've not seen those numbers in the SEC. I don't know since when. I mean, he's like a 5th-year senior or something. He's not actually I shouldn't say this. He's not actually a good quarterback who's getting drafted, is he?
He's a senior. He's not on anyone's list, right? He wasn't. The big names we were talking about is Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and then the third one was Trey Lance. But after these numbers, who knows? Maybe he gets up there. Because
I'm rooting for you, Trask, because that was a hell of a game, like you said.
Yeah,
I saw some of the clips of those throws. He had an arm.
I think the last one to do it was an LSU court. I think there was
Joe Burrow?
No before Joe Burrow.
That's because Joe Burrow had a touchdown game.
SEC 6 passing touchdowns in a game. Oh, I thought there was one, unless I'm thinking of the LSU quarterback that did it in the NFL, who played for the Packers. Maybe I'm thinking of that, where he came in, he spelled Aaron Rodgers, and he threw for like 6 or 7 touchdowns, or 6 touchdowns.
Oh, the guy the Seahawks picked up. And then
what was his name? Maybe I'm thinking of him. What was his name? I can't think of his name.
I know exactly everything about him, but I can't.
I can't think of his name. Joe Burrows threw for 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew Burrows did.
Yeah, but it wasn't Burrow. I gotta look that up. The patron wet boy though, Dave, is not Jimmy Butler as your father. I wish it was. I wish it was Jimmy Butler.
He deserved it again. He had another great game.
But Shane O'Mac gonna be happy. To me, it's one of those things of like, I think this name sounds familiar. Maybe because he played for my team and now he doesn't.
Yeah, by the media last year for not being a shutdown defender.
Yeah, well, he was pretty good yesterday, but it was the Jets. It was the Jets. So, Xavier Rhodes only had 1 tackle, but he had 2 INTs for a tutty as the Colts completely demolished the Jets in that game.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need to put other things on there. You just put 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. Like, it's a 2-point card. I mean, the other things are great. They only threw at him twice, and they only got 1 catch. Great game. I mean, but that Jets team, we're going to talk about it later, but congrats to Xavier Rhodes. He's showing out for that Colts team. They're looking good over there, but don't look too good. Got Barry Down coming your way next.
Dave, I'm going to make an executive decision right now because I did not expect I should have expected it. I should have expected it.
You put down the 2 names.
I did.
You know what happened? Their names are listed.
So tomorrow's show is pretty much locked. I hope there's nothing else that breaks. Like, we'll talk Vic, we'll talk Doc Rivers, because I don't think that goes 50 minutes. Yeah. We'll do the because the fantasy football we were just gonna do basically contender or pretender. We can bump that to tomorrow, mainly because the guys that were listed, like, yes, some of them are not going to be, like, for example, Justin Jefferson is not owned in a lot of leagues, but like really it's also a thing of like, it's not like a conversation where it's like, oh my God, you need to have that before.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You got until Wednesday for waiver wire. So if you watch live tomorrow, you'll see it.
So fantasy football will bump to tomorrow. Sorry guys. And then the NFL recap will basically
speed run it.
Yeah, the thing I'm thinking about is like the big storylines, and like the first one is the biggest storyline, Dave. And Bears Falcons. It finally I didn't think it would happen like this, Dave. I thought I was like these close to being absolutely correct. More like these close. Because preseason, I had the thought of, okay, Trubisky wins game 1, game 2. Fine, you're 2-0. Falcons, I thought, would be better. They were in control when Trubisky was in there. I thought that they would beat Trubisky. Okay, 1 loss. He's still our guy. Colts, I think, are a better team. They win. Bucks are a better team. They win. Boom. Nick Foles is the guy after week 5. Kudos to Matt Nagy, though. Kudos to Matt Nagy, probably thinking, well, if we lose this game, like, fuck it, Mitch is gone. I'm making an executive decision. He didn't even tell Mitch. He was like, yo, OC, yo, Bill, go tell Mitch he's no longer in the game. And then Big Dick Nick comes in, throws 3 touchdowns, wins the game.
Nick with the visor on the field? I'm just saying that set a lot of people up. They were like, oh, there's a different vibe. There's a different energy to this game right now.
Yeah.
Like, we're witnessing something special. And let's just be honest about this. The Falcons just suck. I mean, their offense can chug down the field left and right. It does not matter.
Let's be honest. When you're playing Big Dick Nick, it's automatically game over, Dave.
Nick Foles off the bench is the best weapon in the NFL. We got the best fourth quarter quarterback in Mitch Trubisky. And we got the best backup quarterback now, our starter quarterback off the bench, and Nick Foles. Like, I don't know how any team's going to beat this going forward. This is a hell of a tandem. But Nick Foles was amazing, and I do want to say that I don't agree with the interception call in the end zone. That was bullshit. Miller dropping a touchdown. So like Nick Foles, literally, once he got his vibe going, like he's going to be disgusting. Like he's going to have the weapons. I do expect the Bears to rely on their tight end a little bit more. I think we saw, a little bit of action going his way for Jimmy Graham. Obviously, he got the first touchdown from Mitch, but he did get another touchdown from Foles. They were moving the ball. I still think the play calling wasn't great for him, but got the job done. It's just the go movement of the Bears offense. Once it starts rolling, they just build momentum, and it feels like I'm watching actual football again.
And that's the thing where, for me, number one on the Falcons side, I think we now officially have our second candidate for coach who could be a firing on Black Monday, where Adam Gase is far by number one. And I feel like unless things turn around for the Falcons, Dan Quinn is number two on that list right now. I think he makes it the full year. I don't know how people are like, oh, fire him right now. I think he makes it the full year. I think he's a Black Monday candidate.
Saved his job this week by beating the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, that too. He could have been one also. But I think Sylvie from the Waddle and Sylvie show, ESPN Dave, had the perfect tweet. And the one thing I will preface is that he uses caps, so I'm going to do the Trump yell when he does caps. Because that's what I think of whenever someone does caps on Twitter. Nick Foles ain't perfect. We're not done yelling at our TVs. But the Bears now have a competent quarterback. He knows where and when to throw it. Nagy can now do what Nagy wants to do. Best, I felt, after a Bears game since 2018. We've got that energy. Bear emoji, fans, and then the grapefruit emoji. You know why he did that, Big Dick Nick. But like, I saw that tweet, and although I'm not a Bears fan, I looked at it and I was like, he's right. Like the line in that like the two lines that spoke to me is Foles knows when and where to throw it. And now, maybe Nagy can do exactly what he wants to do, and he doesn't have to babysit his quarterback. Or script his quarterback, I should say. Like, hey, let's script most of the offense because that's what Mitch needs me to do.
Yeah, no, that was incredibly short leash by Matt Nagy, and I think he knew that if the Bears don't win this season, then he doesn't have a job. Yeah. Not only did Ryan Pace not have a job, but he doesn't have a job. And he made the right call. He jumped in there. I mean, hell, he's still 3-0. I mean, like,
are they still the worst 3-0 team?
We got rid of Mitch. No, we're now the best 3-0 team because we have the best quarterback. Well, actually, third best 3-0.
I'm gonna look up the undefeateds right now.
Seahawks are still number one.
We got two tonight. One of them is getting knocked off tonight.
Seahawks, Packers, us, and then whoever comes out of the AFC grinder matchup that is Ravens, Chiefs. So they're four. Whoever wins that game's four. But yeah, we're three. That's I soundly believe that. So I'm just excited for this as a Bears fan. I mean, literally any game is winnable. That's the crazy thing about having Nick Foles out there. It's like our offense can move the ball, which means that we can beat anyone. Because you saw it, like our defense even, like I know I joked about the Falcons not knowing how to play football because they literally lose every single game in the second half. But like our defense flipped the fucking switch. Like Nick Foles, field, Pfizer, defense, we're not budging. We ain't fucking not another yard. Like it had that vibe. And I know he took off the visor after his interception, but it doesn't matter. It still looked cool. And that's gonna be the promo probably for a lot of people. He brings good energy to the team.
The next game, Dave, was a lot interesting than both you and I thought it would be. I thought this was going to be a Rams win by far, and the Bills are. Let's put it this way: the Bills were down at one point were up, I should say, by 25 points. They go ahead and blow that late to where at about, I'm looking at when the score was basically 4 minutes in the fourth quarter, the Rams had a 62.8% chance to win. That went down to then a 54% chance for the Bills at around 1.5 minutes, back up at 53 minutes to a 80% chance for the Rams. and then the Bills ultimately win the game 35-32. Dave, with this game, does this say more about the 3-0 Bills? First off, blowing a lead and then coming back to win it, or does this say more about the Rams that, hey, this might be a team that, yes, I know they lost this game, but even if they're down by 35, this is not the same Rams team we saw last year?
Bit of both, I think. Start with the Rams. I think that they've got a very diverse offense.
Yeah.
It seems like they can get it done multiple ways. Obviously, the run game was able to pull off some big carries for them. They were driving. And that's the thing. When you're going into a game and you're down and it's late, you see a lot of teams just go panic and pass.
Yeah.
And if they get stuck, then they get stuck. Now, the Rams were able to keep that coordination, that cohesive offensive unit moving down the field. It felt pretty good. Had they gotten started literally 10 minutes, 12 minutes earlier, they probably would have won this game. But I mean, the Bills, Josh fucking Allen.
I was going to bring him up. This says the most about Josh Allen. First off, feeling good up 28-3, blow that lead, and then basically with 15 seconds left, fuck it, put the team on my back, throw it to Croft for the touchdown.
Man literally committed a face masking penalty on a game-winning drive. How many quarterbacks are going to do that? He shook off 2 tacklers, took the face mask in one hand, and just pushed him down. And refused to take the sack on the play. Slung it down the field anyway. Didn't count, but he still nailed the pass.
That's a personal foul on the quarterback.
He was pissed. He got robbed by these refs. There were they no-called 3 different plays in the fourth quarter of that game alone that should have gone against the Rams. Nope, didn't happen because he's Josh Allen and he doesn't get the superstar calls. I'll tell you what, though. 3 games, 3 wins. 300 yards and 300 plus yards in each game. I think 3+ touchdowns in each game now. He is something special. And Stephon Diggs, thank you.
And the next 3 games for the Bills are going to be great games to watch. The Raiders, who are proven to be a good team this year. The Titans, who are 3-0. That could be 4-0 versus 4-0. In 2 weeks from now. Oh, and then a match that could be 5-0 versus 5-0 on Thursday Night Football, October 15th, with Chiefs going to Buffalo. It depends on what happens tonight.
They're ramping up in the right time. The thing that frustrated me though, I think Josh Allen literally threw 3 straight touchdowns on 3 consecutive plays because they kept getting called back. It was like the worst ref job. I don't know. It just
sometimes the refs just suck. Like that's just like
yesterday. It just all around the NFL, the refs were bad. And literally, he had, I think it was, Diggs caught 1 touchdown, didn't count. Somebody else caught another touchdown, didn't count. And the third time they got in, it was just like, why? Why can no one just like not fuck up a play on this team? But I think the Bills are for real. I know they beat 2 trash teams to start the season.
Both you and I had them winning the division this year.
And
we had them being it.
Picks.
And the next game, Dave, I don't have a lot to say about it, but the question that I do feel like is, so the Browns beat the Washington football team 34-20. To me, I just feel like this is more of the Washington is who we thought they were. Of course, I probably I think in my predictions, I had them with a few more wins, maybe 6-10, I think is what I had them. But they are who we thought they were. They're not the team that is going to be winning week after week. But this Browns team, I feel like, yet again, am I being the negative Nancy saying, well, they only played Washington? Or is this hey, the Browns, after not so good week 1, are picking up steam and becoming the team that we thought they should be?
I agree. They're getting better and it's going the right direction. Everything seems to be picking up. Obviously, you got to watch out for some injuries, but Myles Garrett's Myles Garrett at the end of the day. Chubb looks fantastic. Hunt made a grab that I think only could be topped by an Odell Beckham grab out there. It was just they had a lot of things click for them. Wasn't their most impressive game ever though. So keep moving. We'll see what they do next week.
The next one, Dave, I'm not as depressed as I was last week. Titans Vikings. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Vikings fan. Yes, we lost. I feel like this is more on the Titans of they're just that team this year where it's like, yep, it's going to be close, but we're going to win. We're going to find a way to win. Because this was looking like a game where I'm like, oh shit, the Vikings may actually win a game. Holy crap. Like, this is a different team. Jefferson looks good. Like, Kirk Cousins doesn't look completely like garbage. I know at the end of the day he had 2 interceptions, but like, it could have gone a lot worse. Dalvin Cook looked good. I know that Sean was telling us that, he might have turf toe, but I'm like, whatever. He'll be fine with turf toe as long as it's not like a torn ACL. I think we're happy. However, here's the question I want to ask, because with me, I'm conflicted, Dave. I am so conflicted after seeing this on Twitter from Viking Nation. So they basically begged the question, we're 0-3. The percentage of teams that make the playoffs at 0-3 is not high.
So, what, like 17% or something? Or
I think it's around there. I think it's around, like, if it's the lowest, I think it's like 12% the lowest. Somebody can fact check us on that.
Yeah,
but
fine.
The question that somebody asked in Vikings Nation that some people might see as dumb, like a no, don't. But to me, I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
They're like, at this point, should we just tank for Trevor Lawrence?
No.
And there's a part of me that's like, maybe. Like, could you, like, I think Trevor Lawrence will be better for the Vikings long term than Kirk Cousins, to where I'm almost on the side of like, I don't care if we lose because that means I get Trevor.
You're not wrong in the fact that long term, yes, Trevor Lawrence should be a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins, but I can't tell you, if your name isn't the Jets, that you should tank at week 3.
Like, are the Vikings going to purposely tank? No. But, like, after seeing that tweet, I am literally on the side of, like, I am no longer going to be upset with a loss.
You cannot just trot out the worst quarterback and lose every game and be okay with it.
I'm not going to root for losses, Dave. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm no longer going to be upset if we lose because I know the prize. We're getting a prize either way, win or lose.
It was a tight game. Credit to Gostkowski going 6 for 6 out there. Golden fucking leg. Proving it yet again.
Should, like, Dave, this is a dumb question. Should I be, like, I should be worried, right? About this team. Like, we're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, because you got the Bears and the Packers.
There's a part of it that's like, then why not? If we're not going to make the playoffs, get the best prize in the draft.
I don't know who your backup quarterback is.
Exactly.
Like, what do you put Dalvin Cook on the shelf for turf toe for 6 months?
I know we have a backup. I think it's the kid out of I think it's a kid out of Wisconsin a couple years ago. Nate, I think it's like his name's Nate something. I'm looking it up. I got you.
That's fine. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. You should not root for tank week 3 unless you're on the Jets. Like that's the only team.
What about the Giants?
No. Giants keep competing. I think that Daniel Jones needs snaps. I really like the comp that I heard today was that Daniel Jones is, got that young Andrew Luck vibes of like his team around him is so bad that they have to count on him right now to do everything, which is just making him make mistakes. What's up?
Sean Mannion.
Oh, Mannion.
Oregon State guy who was with the Rams. I thought it was the guy from Wisconsin. I think his name was like no, not Nate Stanley. I think he was Iowa. But doesn't matter. It's Mannion from Oregon State. Dave, the next game that we're going down the list of, Cam Newton doesn't play the best. Fantasy-wise, only got 11 points. Yeah. But the Patriots get a win against the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not Wes Welker. Jesus, what year am I in? What's the wide receiver's name?
Edelman.
Yeah, Edelman had, I think, his best receiving day ever. Sony Michel had some great moves. I mean, they are a balanced offense at the moment. The defense still sucks.
So I'm going to throw this out here, Dave.
Yep.
You're confusing the white players on the Patriots. So Edelman only had 2 catches, 23.
I asked you what the name was.
It was no, like I was assuming wide receiver. I was like, oh, he means Julian Edelman. That's my bad. Rex Burkhead had the best receiving day. The running back with 49 yards and a touchdown had the best day. Edelman only had 2 catches for 23 yards. Okay. N'Keal Harry was the best wide receiver with 2 catches for 34. Yeah, it was Burkhead had 10 targets in that game.
Yeah.
So that's the one. That was me. I should have fed you the Burkhead name. Before I pulled things up, I just assumed you were talking Julian Edelman. But like, should Patriot fans be concerned about a game like this, where Cam, like this is really the first time
right now? It's Cam Newton.
What?
He's the future. It's just Cam Newton's being Cam Newton. They're having fun. They're winning games. They're doing 2 things that they didn't think used to work together, and now it does. You can have fun and win.
Did you see the new GIF that Cam Newton gave us on the sideline, where he's talking to? I think it was talking to one of his wide receivers, and I don't know what the wide receiver said, but he gave the bruh face like this, and he just slid down to where he was then sitting on the turf. Like he literally slid out of his seat all the way down like a bruh. Did you just say what I think you said?
Oh, it was Edelman last week.
Okay,
Edelman had 179 yards and 11 targets last week.
Okay.
That was his best receiving day. So I take it back. It was 2 weeks ago. He had an amazing performance. This week, obviously, it was through the run game a lot. And then the short passes to Burkhead and Michelle.
Yeah. I mean, but like the thing that I think of is, yes, the team still won. Sometimes you play a game where it's like, we got out of that one with a W. Everything should be good. But there's a part in my head that's like, is this the next week? And of course, next week we'll have to see. Is this going to be hey, have people started to figure out what the Patriots look like with Cam Newton, so they're able to game plan for it more?
Each week's been a little different, though. That's the thing. Bill Belichick and our boy Josh McDaniels over there, they are incredibly creative when it comes to week by week tweaks. Like that offense goes in each week with like, hey, here's the bare bones, and how do we want to play it this time? And I feel like they are just attacking something different each week. So I look forward to what they can do, because I don't think you can solo in on anything but Cam Newton. Like Cam is Cam. And if you can force him to make those same old Cam mistakes that he used to, you got a chance to win the game. But you can't. I feel like no other offensive weapon on that team really has the focus. You know.
The next game, Dave. I don't know about you. I mean, this is just. I don't have a lot to say about it. It was just a good
Did you read
team.
Off the tweet of the injuries
for the
have you read that?
for
Niners?
the 49ers.
Yeah.
No, I have not.
It was great. It was like winning it. I forget what time in the game it was, and they're like, all these positions are injured. It was like QB1, running back 1, running back 2, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, cornerback 1, cornerback 3, cornerback 4, defensive end 1, defensive end 2, defensive end 4, defensive end 5. Like it was literally just like
almost the entire roster.
Injuries. It was 15 injuries, I think, from the 49ers, like still winning.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, the Giants are bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like the Niners, this is a game where you got away with one. And when I say got away with one, you played a team where all these injuries didn't necessarily hurt you. Like, the Niners played well. The Giants are not a good football team. That's why I think people are throwing them into the discussion of the whole, like, should they even tank for Trevor Lawrence? It's both New York teams. Like, should they give up on Darnold and Jones so soon because they both have young quarterbacks? Because it looks like the Giants and the Jets might be at the top of the draft this year.
I like Danny Jones.
I know you do.
I think that, honestly, like Sam Darnold.
And Dave, say his name, right? You've been saying it one way the entire season.
Daniel Jones?
No. Danny what?
Danny Dimes?
Danny Dimes. You don't say Danny Jones, you say Danny Dimes.
True. He's my boy from draft night.
Yeah.
Proving y'all wrong. I think it's weird because if you asked me a year ago, I'd be like, Sam Darnold's a better quarterback to go forward with long term. Right now, I think Daniel Jones might be the better quarterback long term.
Okay.
I think he's got good mobility. His size gives him an advantage, and he can make all the throws. It's just down to like I don't know who he's playing with, and clearly their offense right now has a lot of struggles.
Yeah, and then
It's not true for the Jets, though.
You
That's the
take
problem.
Saquon away, and it's like, ooh, Saquon adds a lot to that team. But the most interesting game, Dave, from the week.
Was it?
By outcome alone,
I think
yes.
frustrated.
I mean, outcome alone, yes, because I thought Joe Burrows was going to get his first win of the season, Dave, and the football gods were like, well, you were half right. He didn't lose.
And not so fast.
A 23-23 tie between the Eagles and the Bengals.
So the Eagles suck, and I think everyone knows that. But Carson Wentz pulled it out for one series and got them that tie. But yeah, I think that everybody knows that Joe Burrow, he's got it. Like week over week, I just see it in his game. I see it in his throws. He has such a competitive, like, I don't know, a drive to his game.
A willingness to pull this team.
It's the willingness to take risks.
Okay.
It's the like, I'm going to make the smart play, but sometimes I'm going to pull a little... Maybe I'll throw it into some tight coverage.
So he's like, I'm not going to go Brett Favre all the time, but there might be one or two plays where I go Brett Favre.
Sometimes he does think about it. So that's the thing. I like seeing that. I think the Eagles just need, I don't even know, they need a lot. But yeah, the Bengals are encouraging. I really wish that Joe Mixon would get more touches. I don't quite understand what's happened to their offense. I get that we joked last week about the 61 throws for Joe Burrow. Like, well, he's your best player. I mean, let him do his thing. But, like, you can't just do that. You've got to balance out that offense a little bit better.
Now I'm looking at it, though, and, like, honestly, it could be any of these games with how Joe Burrows is playing, but I don't know where JB gets his first win. He's got Jacksonville. Could happen.
Could win.
Baltimore, not a chance. Indy, I'm going to say not a chance. Cleveland could win. He almost beat Cleveland the first time. But Cleveland might be playing a little bit better by that point.
I think by the time we hit Cleveland, he'll have a win. Okay. I think you're sleeping on the fact that the Ravens could sleep on.
I don't think they do.
I think that's a week where they're looking ahead a week.
To quote our good Soapy Muffin, I think this Ravens team is just built differently.
I think they're looking ahead a week, maybe. I think that one could be a sneaky one. We'll watch out. We'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens against the Chiefs tonight. Houston, Pittsburgh, 21-28. Like,
they are who we thought they were.
Closer than I thought it would be, though. I didn't think this was just going to be. I think Vegas had it as a close game, but like
there were a couple of injuries from the Steelers' end, unfortunately. Big Ben still got it done though, because that's who he is.
Good point.
And I love the Steelers team. So Texans, sorry, it's just not your year.
Dave, I got one challenge for you.
Sure.
You gotta say one nice thing about the Jets. Jets lose to the Colts. You gotta say one positive about the Jets.
Good on you for still having a job, Frank Gore.
There it is.
You are an NFL running back at an age where no one should be an NFL running back.
We usually talk about the cliff being 35.
For running back, it's like 30.
No, I thought it was like 35.
Name a running back over Adrian Peterson, who is a freak of nature, and Frank Gore.
No, you're right. Because usually that first contract ends at about 30.
Yeah, they don't get past 30. That's the end of career for running back.
I thought that fucking Forte was 35 when he was in that contract year.
Forte? No. Forte probably retired at like 33.
Here, I'm looking it up.
He was past his prime by the time he was signed by the Jets.
No, you're right. When he signed with the Jets, he was 32. He was 31 when he signed with the Jets, and then he retired at 32.
Yeah, like I said, it was...
You're right.
You don't running back over the age of 31. Like 30, 31, that's you're an old man on bad knees.
Frank Gore's 37?
Yeah. Frank Gore's a fucking tank, though. They don't build him like Frank Gore. Except for Frank Gore Jr. at Tulane. He gets built exactly like his dad, which is kind of hilarious.
I'm trying to think.
But yeah, it's him and Adrian Peterson are the old man of the league. It's hilarious.
The old running backs. Are they the old men or are the old old running back?
Freaking 44-year-old quarterbacks.
Good
kickers,
point. Good point. Tom Brady's the old man of the league.
Outside of that, no, I think. He is probably now the oldest.
Damn, even the bus only played until 33.
I told you.
Because I looked up the bus because I'm like, Frank Gore reminds me of the bus. Like the way he runs is the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. Just absolutely applaud the monster that is Frank Gore.
Because for me, I'm going to go on the other side with the Colts. If I think this is the second week, the Colts are awakening, Dave. The dragon that I thought was going to be as good as I thought they were is waking up because, Phillip Rivers only had one touchdown in the game. Fucking Jonathan Taylor had one. You had a defensive touchdown on the other side. I should have started Allie Cox, Dave, in fantasy. I talked about him, but I went in with the Lane Thomas, the going up against the Browns because the Browns usually give mucho points to tight ends. That didn't happen because I didn't expect the Washington football team to only get one touchdown. I can't wait to see where this Colts team goes. I know they're only playing the Jets this week, but
they're about to get buried down.
Cannot wait. And then a game, I'm going to say call it. I called it, Dave. Panthers get the win over the Chargers 21-16. I said, don't sleep on Anderson, although I don't think he had as good of a game as I expected. Yeah, he only had 56 yards. He didn't hit the century mark for the third time. But Teddy Two Gloves getting it done. Like, don't sleep on Teddy Two Gloves this season as the Panthers get their first win.
It was all about Mike Davis and proving that Mike Davis, well, not CMC, still make sure that offense can move the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater, not a bad game. Mike Davis, excellent game. Panthers defense flexed when it needed to. It'll be interesting to see what the Chargers do here with Herbert and Tyrod Taylor now. Herbert lost both games, didn't look bad, but didn't make it so you can't revert back to Tyrod if you want to protect him. So I don't know. It's a decision they're going to have to make going forward.
So I'm looking up on Twitter to see if there were any recent tweets about Herbert's injury, and I do not see any yet. But the thing that makes me chuckle, Dave, is Pro Football Focus (PFF) tweeted out in quotes, "We're taking you to team doctors, Justin Herbert," and it's a clip of a man just while they're driving down the highway, opening the door and jumping out.
Yeah, I mean, his head literally detached from his body. It looked like. And he's just one play? He missed one play.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's just built differently, man. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Broncos, Buccaneers. This was a game went down just like we thought it would, Dave. The Broncos didn't win. The Buccaneers win handily in this one. Tom Brady has 3 touchdowns. Thank you for throwing 2 of them to Mike Evans. He had 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2 receptions, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. Deuce is wild for Mike Evans.
I love it. Yeah, no, it was much to do about nothing. The ball got thrown to Gronk, so the media would shut up about Gronk. Well done.
Yeah, six catches.
Outside of that, it's just business as usual. I wish that Fournette would have had more touches, though. I'm a little unhappy with his lack of production.
And that's the thing. Do you think that's going to be a problem moving forward? I know that's more of a fantasy thing.
They just shuffle their running backs. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, they went to Ronald Jones 13 times in the game.
Don't get it.
Next one, Dave. We got, 3 left?
Here's the upside.
Lions Cardinals. Lions, like you mentioned earlier, Matt Patricia saving his job. Kyler Murray takes his first L of the year, throwing 3 picks against the Lions defense, Dave.
He made some poor decisions out there. He's got happy feet, though. And, I think it's the confidence. It's not a bad thing to be that confident, but, he can't make all of them throw. One wasn't his fault, but,
okay.
He fucked up. But just admit, Kyler, you're still a young quarterback. You're on a great, platform. You're going to keep growing. You're going to get awesomer and awesomer. Cardinals are looking great. Lions, though, it feels good, I'm sure, as a Lions fan to be like, we don't suck the most.
We're not the worst team in the league.
Matt Stafford's good. Adrian Peterson, good.
Your boy caught the 2 touchdown passes.
Spin move?
I did see that.
And it's pretty cool, right? he pulls up and it's just like, oh, he's going.
I'm going to roll around you. But yeah, on the Cardinal side, your boy, Dave from draft season, got 2 touchdowns.
2 buddies. About time to start using them. Turns out they just need D-Hop to unleash them.
Right there. They won the Josh Rosen trade. Andy Isabella, 2 touchdowns, winner of the trade.
Absolutely.
Winner of the Josh Rosen trade. Dave, this is a game that we were focused on heavily because both of you had DK Metcalf for fantasy, although Tyler Lockett got 3 touchdowns in it. 38-31, Cowboys losing to the Seattle Seahawks, and Dave's MVP throwing 5 touchdowns, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he's got no defense. That man has no defense. And like DK Metcalf, we talked about him. He had a touchdown. He should have had 2.
Yeah.
He literally palmed the ball and on the 2-yard line, 1-yard line, had it punched through the back of the end zone because he was careless with it. Like, that's going to be forever played over and over and over. That's like the was the Eagle who did the drop the ball.
Deshaun Jackson.
He's got Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson, if I recall correctly, did it twice though.
Deshaun Jackson did the that was on the punt return against the Giants, I think. Let's see.
All I remember is drop ball before end zone. It was a Deshaun Jackson thing to do. DK Metcalf careless with the ball going in the end zone. Almost cost his team the game, but did just come through in the clutch, catch the game winner. Still a great game. Dak Prescott just rifled the ball everywhere. I think they forgot they had a running back though. Ezekiel Elliott's pretty okay at football. Maybe you should hook the brother up a little bit, maybe.
So yeah, that was the punt return. Or it was, I'm looking at the video, it was Eagles Dallas 2008. Deshaun Jackson dropped ball before goal line. I think there was
You're thinking of the Giants was when he returned it for a touchdown.
Yes, that was the punt return. The one from college that I'm seeing pop up is it says Oregon turns. It was basically a Utah's Kellen Clay dropped the ball before the end zone 5 years ago.
I want to say
against Oregon State. Did he have one in college? Let's see. Deshaun Jackson college. Yeah, I'm not seeing one pop up for Deshaun Jackson in college. I'm seeing the Utah one pop up, which was a Utah defender on a fumble return, dropped it just before the end zone. There was a Clemson receiver from a video I'm seeing, but that's in a compilation. I'm not going to go ahead.
No, this was
that. Did you find it?
It's on our. Was this a Senior Bowl?
Army Bowl?
What college did he play for?
I don't know off the top of my head. Was it the Army Bowl? Because I know he played in the Army Bowl.
Yes, it was at the Army Bowl. He did a front flip handstand.
Oh yes, okay.
And he dropped it to 1.
Okay, yeah, that was his bowl game.
Yeah,
that year. Last game, Dave, that we'll end the show with, Packers Saints, and I just gotta say, Dave, these young bloods out there, Sean, I'm looking at you. They gotta listen to us old bloods, Dave, because
I gotta look at these picks this week, but I think we went how many games were there?
Because when I calls it, Dave, I calls it. Because Sean yesterday was like, man, Saints defense should get me some good points. I'm like, dude, they're gonna get you -5.
-5 games. I think we got at least 9.
You know what the Saints defense ended with in fantasy, Dave?
What's that?
-3. I was 2 off. I told them they were going to get negative points. Don't be looking for points there. And they got -3. I was 2 points off from being spot on that good. One. But yeah,
Aaron
Packers win.
A bad man.
He's a bad man.
Alvin Kamara equally bad. But that Saints offense without Michael Thomas
is not good.
It's limited. They competed this game, but their whole offense is just Drew Brees doing 3-yard throws and then a billion yak. And it's working clearly, but
they still scored 30 points. It's just
I was saying just a little short. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers gonna burn you. The big thing for me is Lazard stepped up and became the guy without having their number 1 wide receiver out there. So I'm a little shocked. Well, I'll be honest.
They also got
expected performance.
They also got a big game from I'm gonna fuck up his name, but Robert Tonyan, the tight end, Tonyan, where basically he had 2 catches in game 1.
Is he the 3rd round pick?
He was drafted in ESPN doesn't tell me. He's in his 3rd season.
Oh, they're not the guys.
So he's out of Indiana State. He's had a touchdown now in the 2 games he's played in. He played against Detroit, 2 receptions for 25 yards and a touchdown. And against New Orleans, 50 yards, had 5 catches, caught all of his 5 targets, and scored the touchdown at the end of the game to put them up 37-30. So, like, for me, it's like, maybe maybe you put up the, hey, you know, go with him in fantasy, but, like, he came up big, too. Yeah. I know it's not like the 100 yards. I think what Lazard had, 146 yards that Lazard had, going 6 of 8. On his catches to targets.
He was special.
But Aaron Rodgers has proven, man, hey, you can put anyone in front of me, this team is going to win. Like, and I feel,
sling it.
Yeah. Like, and I'll almost ask this, Dave, are we headed for a Seahawks-Packers NFC Championship game? Again?
Seahawks-Packers, NFL playoffs. It's meant to be. It's awesome. That's assuming that the Bears don't, knock them out. Just Bears.
Good point. Right now, the Packers are the 2nd seed, behind the number 1 Seahawks. The Bears at 3-0 would be the 5th seed.
It's 6-3 already.
Yep, I saw it was 3-0. It's 6-0. So at that point, Dave, I did not expect to go this late. But with it being 6-3, who you got winning the game tonight? I'm gonna go Ravens. Even though they're down, I don't care. I was going to pick Ravens anyways.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs. I was just confused by the numbers for a second there
because they just scored a touchdown. What, 6-3?
It is 6-3
because they haven't kicked the extra point yet.
No, Butker missed it.
Oh, okay. I just assumed. I just assumed it was he didn't. The touchdown was Mahomes running. So Mahomes did not pass it. He ran it in. But that's I
need Butker to kick.
But that is going to do it for this very long edition of MVP Sports Live. Thank you guys for sticking along with us. Did not expect. Well, I should have expected. It was on me. Yep. But I didn't. For that debate to go as long today. The usuals, Discord, link down below in the description, !Discord in Twitch chat to get on that. Patreon.com/MVP vids if you want to support us, but you can also sub to us on Twitch, supports us as well. Thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. And last but not least, we're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids. But we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Dave and I will be back tomorrow. We're talking about Doc Rivers. We're talking Victor Oladipo. We're talking fantasy football because we're pushing that from today to tomorrow. So we got a jam-packed show tomorrow for you already. Thank you guys for doing what you do. And as always, have a good day, everybody.